Hi everyone, Brandon here, and come with me on a trip to Isle Royale National Park. So, what is Isle Royale National Park and where is it? It is the least visited national park at the very tip of the United States in the middle of Lake Superior. And because it's an island in the middle of Lake Superior, that's why it's least visited. And on this trip, I took about 3 days to backpack the whole length of the national park, 45 miles in 3 days. And come with me on day one of that journey. So, like I mentioned, there's two ways to get there, by ferry or by seaplane. By ferry from Houghton, it's about a 6 hour trip. Seaplane is about 35 minutes. So I know most people take the ferry; it's more relaxing. But for me, I wanted just a one of a kind experience, so I went for the seaplane. And let me tell you, it was exciting. I felt like I was going into the bush somewhere, like on an Alaskan bush plane. Um, the views on the plane were just spectacular. The pilot was great. And I was the only one on the plane, so I felt like a VIP sitting in the co-captain's chair, watching out the window of just kind of like the takeoff from Houghton, and then seeing the trees from above and some of the wildlife above the island. It was quite spectacular. Highly recommend. I mean, just look at these views. So I'm gonna stop talking now, so you can just take in the experience of being on the seaplane. Quick plug to the charter, Isle Royal Seaplanes. My pilot, Tomas, was great. If you're going up there, um, I recommend him and Isle Royal Seaplanes. One thing to know about the seaplane, it was incredibly smooth. The smoothest flight I've ever been on. Takeoff and landing, normally, on a 747, it's kind of rough when you hit the ground. On a seaplane, I couldn't even tell that we landed. It was so smooth. I looked at the captain like, we're here? He was like, yeah, man, we're here. What you talking about? Get out there and have some fun. I was like, bet, let's go. So when you land in Wendigo, you start in Wendigo, and then you end in the more busier town, Rock Harbor. That's where all the ferries and a lot of the tourists and day trips, they start and end from. So there were no rangers there, but the shop was there, so you can go in and buy any food or fuel that you might need, because you can't bring fuel for your stoves on the plane. So go to the store, get some. There's potable water, so fill up your water bottles, your hydration flasks, and there's running water. And this is the last opportunity for running water and flushing toilets and showers until the other side of the island. So take advantage of this, fill up your waters, and get ready to hit the trail. Wendigo, there's one trail that takes you deep into the island. Just follow that for a little bit, and then you'll reach this signpost that cuts into the Greenstone Ridge Trail. So get the signpost, hit a right, then you're on the Greenstone Ridge Trail, and you'll be on this for 40 miles. So buckle up. It doesn't take long once you're on the island to just really be immersed in the beauty. I mean, check out this view. This is right next to the main campground at Wendigo, and you can see the water on the left. There's a loon out there calling. You see the trail, the thick forest. I'll give you a second to just enjoy the view. So I gotta be straight up. Most of this video is just me hiking through some pretty dense forest. So if you want to see more Lake Superior or rocks, go ahead and wait for part two. But I really like the forest, so stick around if you like. And this is right when I started the Greenstone Ridge Trail here. So you can see this trail it's pretty narrow, but it's probably the widest part of the Greenstone Ridge Trail. You'll see a bit later on how dense it could get. But this is right at the beginning, right outside Wendigo, and it really kind of jumps into it. You can see the lush vegetation, the trail, a lot of roots, but right here, it's not really too steep, just kind of slow and steady right now since we're at the beginning. This is going up the first hill. Right when you start to ascend up to the ridge, you can see the trees start to thin out a bit, but it's still beautiful vegetation, and I mean, it's just really peaceful. That's kind of the only way I can really describe it. It's untouched wilderness. It's one of the last few bastions of true wilderness we have in this country. Um, it's probably because it's not very visited, you know. So on this day, this is the first day. I went from Wendigo to South Desor campsite, and that was about 13 miles. I was really trying to push it. When I get out here, I really like to challenge myself, see if I still got it. You know, I'm a dad now, so I kind of got a little dad bod. I'm trying to work out. I'd like to think I'm an athlete, probably not, but so yeah, adjust the mileage to whatever you're comfortable with. There's plenty of campsites along the way that I passed, so you don't have to get off the plane to go 13 miles. But this was my first day, and that's the mileage I wanted to get to. And this is kind of the view. I'm going to South Desor. Because I was here in early June on this side of the island, the bugs weren't too intense, especially at this kind of elevation. But you definitely need to bring a bug net because even though it was early June, the mosquitoes were like Old Testament biblical. Black flies weren't really out yet, but tons of bugs. So bring your bug net and bring, bug repellent clothes, anything you need to get the bugs out your face. Remember when I said I'm not that athletic? Yeah, this is me taking a break pretty early on. But so I mentioned I was going to South Desor campsite. It's a pretty small campsite, like a lot of the inland campsites on Isle Royale. It's very small and very primitive, and it's on a freshwater inland lake. So what I mean by small, it's three like single campsites, one group campsite, and a vault toilet, and that's it. It's on a lake, so you can refill your water. All water needs to be treated and filtered, by the way. That's pretty much a necessity out here. You can treat it by either boiling it or having it filter like a life straw or some tablets. But tablets kind of take a long time. On this trip, I had the life straw. A couple other quick things to note about Isle Royale National Park. There's a one predator, one prey relationship here. Predator, the wolf. You're not going to see a wolf. So I don't want you to get scared that there's wolves out here. There are, but you're not going to see them. Moose, on the other hand, there's a gazillion of them, and you will see moose at some point. Be mindful, moose are wild animals, especially out here. They don't see too many humans, and they're huge. They're like thousands of pounds. So keep your distance. Take pictures from a distance. Be around a tree. Protect yourself. But remember, they're wild animals, and don't really disturb their environment. You're a guest in their home, basically. One more thing about the water on the inland lakes. So, even though this is very remote, it's still affected by, human climate change. So, in the summer to fall, the algae blooms will appear on the inland lakes. And if there's an algae bloom, the water is undrinkable, even when treated. It's toxic. You will throw up, and that's at best. At worst, you get so weak that you will have to get evacuated, get medical treatment. So if that is the case, the National Park Service posts on their website at the top banner the current water conditions on the inland lakes. If that's the case, this trip would not have been possible, not on this Greenstone Ridge. But there are other trails that border Lake Superior, and Lake Superior does not really get affected by the algae blooms, just because of how massive it is. So when you're planning this trip, first thing to check is the condition of the inland lakes. If there's toxic algae blooms, this trip would not be possible. But if you want to avoid that, go in the early season or the late season before really summer hits. A bit about me while you're watching me hike here. Everywhere I go, I like to collect a new patch. So you see tons of patches on my backpack. I'm not really that cool, or it makes it look a lot cooler than it really is. That's kind of why I do it. But everywhere I go, if I complete a hike or go camping, I like to get a new patch and just kind of keep it on my pack for nostalgia, so I can remember these good times I had. So looking forward to hopefully getting another patch at the end of this one. Stay tuned to see. Some other tips while I'm hiking along to South to Shore campsite. Um, there's no cell service there. That's pretty obvious. So I would like to bring like a Garmin sat navigation sat phone device just in case to kind of fill in people where I'm at or if an emergency happened so that I can be able to be evacuated. That's one thing you always got to bring when you go into the backcountry. For those of you who are trying to plan your first trip, that's a necessity. And we're on the road again. So in the winter, up in Lake Superior, it's really harsh. And being in Michigan, we normally have harsh winters, but up there, it's just a whole nother level, and you really see how destructive winter can be in a wilderness like this. Trees were down everywhere. At this part of the trail, you can just kind of go around them. But later, if you stay tuned for part two, part three, there was a lot of like swamps that you have to trudge through, and so many trees were down that you have to kind of do a little bit of route finding. It's kind of it's beautiful and tragic at the same time. I really appreciated nature and all her destruction and all her beauty out here and away from human intervention, just to kind of see what naturally occurs when you're out here in the wilderness. But y'all didn't come here for all the philosophical stuff. Keep in mind when you go up, you're gonna have to come down eventually, and some of the descents are really steep and really difficult. This is me descending down into South to Shore. It's about a quarter mile to half mile descent into the campsite. I'm really thankful that I brought trekking poles. I got no shame in my game. I bring trekking poles because, hey, I'm getting older. I gotta protect my body so I can continue to do stuff like this. While most of the trail is gradual ups and downs while you're on the ridge, yeah, descending, going into the campsites, they get pretty steep. And especially after, rain comes in the early season, you have to really watch your steps. That's another tip to keep in mind. I wanted to include this shot because I thought it looked cool here. So nothing really to say besides, man, I kind of felt myself. And here I am at the campsite. Yeah, you can watch me kind of put my tent up for a little bit, but as you can see, kind of behind me, there's the lake. And at this campsite, I was the only one there. I had the whole place to myself, which is pretty common in the inland campsites. Towards Wendigo and Rock Harbor, they get a little bit more populated. In the summer season, Wendigo and Rock Harbor, especially, you're gonna have to like bunk up with some folks. But I went early June, had the whole place to myself. Only saw like two other people on the trail, and it was great. If you're trying to seek some solitude, go to Isle Royale National Park. So yeah, this is me setting up my campsite. If you have any questions on what gear I brought, I can share that with you all. I've got no problem doing that. But put any questions you have in the comments, and I'll get back to you. I'm about to be philosophical again, so bear with me. But I like trips like this just because, when we're hustling, bustling every day, we kind of feel like, we're not really connected to nature. Being out here with nature, not hearing anything but the loons, the moose, the wind, the water, really makes you feel like humans and nature, we're in this thing together. We're one big ecosystem, and I think that's kind of important for all folks to kind of remember, get in touch with nature. So this is me at camp after finishing about a half marathon worth of hiking up and down. I'm pretty much chilling, cooking up some dinner, thinking about my plan for tomorrow, and I'm just gonna kick it tonight and be prepared for tomorrow. Part two is my 15 miler. I got a long day tomorrow. And that was it for day one. I'm hiking the entire 45-ish miles. This was part one. I did 13. Stay tuned. I'll drop part two tomorrow, which is my longest day, about 15 miles, going to West Chicken Bone Lake. That was a funny name, but it's a great campsite. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Give me a like, give me a follow. Hit me up on Instagram. I'm out here. We out here. We've been here. And I'll see you next time.